What's going on, guys, and welcome to our 2021 tier list. Light speed as fast as we can. So, well, first let's get over to the actual screen. Didn't actually work. Let's try again. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. You just gotta grunt a little harder. So, what are we going to be using? So, pros, cons, practicality. Practicality is the biggest thing. What makes it practical? Well, so the pros are how it benefits you. Cons, how easy is it to conceal is a really big one. How discreet is it? And then, are there any downsides to the power itself? So, breathing underwater. So, breathing underwater, yeah, it's great. You can breathe under fresh water, salt water, doesn't matter. You can hang out with dolphins, hang out with fish. You also could just live rent free. I don't care. You don't have to worry about any of the issues that normal humans would have to with decompression or any of that garbage. And it's also really hard to be discovered having this power unless you're really blatant about it. So, we'll also talk about like just normal people who, well, normal people things like illnesses that could affect you. So, I mean, you could have a heart attack and no one can save you if you're under the ocean. But also, under the ocean, it's less known than the surface of the moon. I don't know shit about the moon. I don't know about you guys. And I know even less about the bottom of the ocean. So it's going to be really hard to be discovered. Radar doesn't work that well, to my knowledge. You can see like the general shape. Maybe it's a lot better. I'm not in the military. I don't know shit about this actually. But I'm going to go ahead and give this a solid A tier. What up? Very good ability. Regeneration. So regeneration, obviously great pros as far as longevity. You're not going to die from cancer. You can just continue regenerating your old organs. It's probably pretty close to eternal youth, I'd say. Maybe not. Eh. So, for cons, very easily noticeable, especially if you do. So this isn't like some rapid, immediate regeneration. It'll take time. You'll get fully healed, but it'll take a little time. And if you're in a car accident, if something bad happens to you, you go to the hospital, that's going to be very, very noticeable. And when that happens, it'll be the same thing as with some of the other things. You'll become very interesting to be studied because they'll want to know, like, why can this person not be maimed? And he grows back his limb. She grows back her freaking kidneys, you know? Could also sell all of those. Could make a lot of money. Maybe it should be a higher tier. So I'm going to go ahead, just on the off chance that something really unfortunate happens, we're going to put this in B tier. Super intelligence. So, super intelligence in 2021, we're all freaking stupid. We know that. I know that. I'm stupid. Am I projecting? Maybe. What are the downsides to this? Well, you're so smart that you probably thought of the downsides that I'm not thinking of. And I'm not really thinking of any, because you'd be very good at concealing how smart you'd be. I don't know if there'd be really any downsides to this. This is an easy, the easiest S tier that we have on the list. Boom. Flight. I mean, we've all wanted to fly. I wanted to go Super Saiyan when I was a kid. You guys probably did too. I guarantee you guys freaking tried to charge up and didn't do anything other than maybe like hurt yourself a little bit or shit your pants, which hopefully you didn't. Flight is not very discreet. You can do it at nighttime, which you probably should. You don't want to do it during the day. People don't know how to react to seeing people flying, I'd assume. I've never seen someone fly, but if I did, I'd be horrified. Animals probably wouldn't like it either. They probably wouldn't tell anyone. But even at nighttime, so this isn't super speed. So we'll say that this is like flight at the average speed of other, we'll say like, I don't even know. We'll say 100 miles per hour, 80 miles per hour. If that's a good speed, I really don't know. But you gotta do it with a lot of discretion, and that's what holds it back. Because yeah, it'd be fun. It's a novelty, but you have to use a lot of time and thinking, and you don't want to do it during peak hours. You can't do it when you want to, and then you don't have supervision or anything, so it's just going to be like flying through clouds. Might be unpopular, but I'm giving this a D tier. I think it's bad. Uh, it'd be fun. I mean, I'd love to fly, but I've flown in a dream before, and it was okay, and then I woke up. All right, invulnerability. So this kind of goes with regeneration, but not to the same degree. Pros. Well, you're basically invulnerable. You can withstand nearly any kind of impact, and it's really hard to take you out from any kind of external factor. So, downsides. You are not invulnerable. Totally. You're if you have some kind of a medical issue, I mean, you're probably going to be unconscious. So even if you had perfect control over everything you were doing, then if you're unconscious, you probably don't have control over it, and they might not even be able to cut you open. Like, you had a heart attack. Do they cut you open for a heart attack? I actually don't know. We'll use a different thing. Let's say you had a exploded appendix. Your appendix suicide, right? Blew up, kamikaze. They can't cut you open. They're going to take your body for science. That being said, while you're alive, it's going to be pretty good, more than likely. In the same vein as regeneration, if you're in like some horrible accident and you're not injured, they'll wonder why. But if you get your arm cut off, which there's almost no way that would ever happen, it's not going to regenerate. I'm going to put this in the same tier. I'm going to put this in B tier. I think it's a pretty good ability. In 2021, I'd want that. I'd want any of these abilities, but flight seems like the worst so far. Super strength. So, we all want to be the best we can be. We all want to be fit, strong, healthy. Super strength would be amazing. You wouldn't have to worry about any kinds of issues for being too weak for anything. You could open any jar of pickles that you fucking wanted to, open them to your heart's content, help your neighbors move furniture, be very popular. The only issue is this is one of the superpowers that would be the hardest to conceal if you had any kind of, like if you had a seizure, if you'd been drinking, if really those two. So it might not affect you if you have really good self-discipline, you just don't drink, you don't get drunk, you might not see it until later in life if it's based on health issues, but what are you going to do with it? Because you kind of have to use it in private. Otherwise, you're just going to be a really strong guy, but you can't really show off how strong of a guy. Because otherwise, you'll be very, very interesting to be studied, and no one wants that. Everyone wants the glamour of it, but they don't want to deal with the repercussions of said glamour. I'm going to go ahead and put this in a C tier. I think it would be a great ability to have, but I just don't think it's very practical to have. Invisibility. So invisibility will be limited to just your body and the contents of your body. So anything inside your body will also be invisible. So what can you do with this? You can probably scare some people. You can be really creepy. You can probably get away with robbing some places here and there. But the biggest issue with invisibility would be that you'd still show up on any kind of like thermal camera. And yeah, maybe you'll like appear on Ghost Adventures and Zach Bagans will say you're a ghost. I love Zach Bagans. I love Ghost Adventures. You guys should watch Ghost Adventures. But at the end of the day, that's not very discreet. And if you're opening doors, people are still going to see the doors being opened. If you're going around, if you're stupid enough to walk across the street and someone hits you with their car, you're going to leave an indent on that car. I don't think this is a good ability. I think this is also D tier. I think it has some novelty use in the same way, but it requires so much discretion it takes away from it. Super speed. So super speed. Pros, you're going to be really fast. You have perfect control unless you're in some altered state of mind or in some medical condition, the same way as super strength. So, pros, you're really fast. You can also, for all of those, you don't have to use like a ton of calories. Like, you're not going to, you'll expend the normal amount of calories as a normal human who's maybe running a mile or something of that nature. I don't know the physics behind it, doesn't matter. This is a tier list. So, the cons, same thing as invisibility, and depending on how fast you're going, I mean, you're going to still show up on a thermal camera. Even if you're going really fast, you'll still be a blur on it. I mean, they'll probably just chalk it up to some kind of malfunction or something of that nature, but you're not invisible. You can get things done really quickly, but getting from point A to point B, yeah, it's useful. You'd have to travel by night if you're trying to do a long distance, but could you imagine that? Like, for any weekend, you could just run to a different state, a different country, and as long as you didn't hit anything, you're going to be fine. And you have nearly perfect control over it in a normal state of mind. So I actually think this is a pretty strong ability. I'm going to put this one as well in A tier. A tier ability. And the final one is, well, it's a meme. It's actually it's unattainable. All right, see you guys on the next one, and peace. It was predicting the stock market.